I completed Racing Victoria's Stable Start program, and if you don't believe me, well, here's proof. Here's the shirt that I got while doing the course, and also another piece of evidence if you don't believe me, that is me handling a horse. Throughout this video, I'm just going to be talking about what happened during the program and how I found it. So for some background information for all the people that just know me for, my form guide and trying to find the winners, I've had zero to minimal experience around horses in my life. Probably more towards minimal than zero, because I have spent a total of 55 hours with Pat Carey and Harris Walker in the mornings throughout my life, which has been sort of throughout 2023 and a little bit about 2022. So I've had a little bit of experience around horses, but that was a fair while ago, and because Pat and Harris were so busy doing their jobs, I never really got taught the basics of, the bridling and the saddling. So I got recommended to do the stable start, and let's get on with how it went. The program ran for 4 days, and it was run at the Cranbourne Racecourse from times 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. I think there was a total of 8 people that did it, and out of those 8 people, they're about half and half. I think 4 had really good hands-on experience with horses, and the other 4 were just starting out, like me. So I'll take you through the days and how I got on. Throughout this video as well, I will be using clips from the featureonracing.com BZ's Stable Start, just to give you a bit of a visual representation of what went on with some of the stories I've got to tell as well. So Monday was the first day, Monday the 22nd of January, that's right, the 22nd of January. That was nothing, they got nothing to do with horse handling stuff. It was all about going back over the safety, how to be safe around horses, a little bit about the racing industry and the horses themselves. So it was more bookwork than hands-on experience. That somehow went on for about 5 hours, and then we went on a tour around the back of the Cranbourne Racecourse. Out of all the Cranbourne trainers, we got to go and see Mick Kent's racing stable, and that got me a little bit excited because we do part own one with Mick Kent that ran on the weekend, Crimson Light. So we toured Mick Kent's facilities. That was absolutely awesome. We got to see the Cranbourne Racecourse swimming pool for the horses, and I don't know how this happened, but luckily, with the 5 minutes that we were there at the swimming pool, the horse that was going around in the swimming pool was none other than Imperatriz. I took a really bad photo of her. But we got to speak a little bit to Mick Kent. A few people had some questions about his techniques and things, but I approached him at the end when we were all leaving and asked him about Crimson Light to get some inside information. And it was all self-explanatory information as well. We know where she's heading, we know how she's going, so it's all good. And for those people that don't know, she ran 3rd on Saturday at the Valley in an unsuitable contest, and she'll probably go up in grade now. So that was Monday all done. Then we roll on to Tuesday. Tuesday was the first sort of experience that we got to have with the horses. There were 3 horses lent to us, and I think they were called Paddy, Socks, and Floral on Tuesday. So at the start of this program, I thought that the horse handling stuff would be the hardest, but it turned out at the end of the program to be the funnest. So the same procedure would happen every morning. We'd get the horses, we'd have to catch them in their boxes. So we'd need a head collar and a double clip lead and a rearing bit to take them out of their boxes, and we'd put them on the walker. So while they were on the walker, we had to go back and just muck out their boxes. So getting all the droppings out, getting all the wet. I'm not even sure what it is. It's not hay. I'm not actually sure what that thing is called that they're always in. And I'm going to look really stupid for not knowing what it's called. I just can't think of it. But you'll see it on BZ Stable Start, and someone might be able to tell me in the comments. So we had to get that out anyway. We put that in a bucket and tipped it out. We had to, redo their feeds. We had to get them more water or fresh water and fill that right to the top, a bucket full of water. So that's all we had to do in that part. And then we had to go back to the walker, get them, and bring them back. So after that happened, we needed to tie them up in their boxes to do some other things. What we had to do is we needed to do a quick release knot, which I'm still not a master at. You have to sort of tie the rope and then something pulls and it's all of a sudden tight. And then there's the loose bit of rope which you pull, and all of a sudden it's just back to normal. It's just a normal rope in case you get into trouble. So there's a clip on the end of the rope which you tie up to their head collar. You take the rearing bit off because that's not needed in the boxes, and they'd be tied up, nowhere to go. So when this happened, we got to brush them. There were 5 brushes. There was a curry comb. No, not the food. That's what it's called. Where, I mean, for the people that do know this is, useless information, but trying to teach the people that don't know. So a curry comb is just getting the hair off their middle section. So you just sort of go in a circular motion around that. You would have seen it before. I might actually show BZ doing it as well while I'm commentating through this. So there was the curry comb. Hopefully BZ's doing it for you. There was, what else was there? There was a face brush where you just brush their faces, just obviously to get the dust and all that off. There was a leg brush to do the same thing to the legs. There was a mane and tail brush, which probably was the easiest out of all the brushes, or one of the easiest out of all the brushes. That was pretty good. And then probably the hardest brush was the, I'm not sure what it's called, but it's the hoof one, the one where it's got the sharp thing on the other side of the brushy thing. And you sort of had to pick up their hoof. You have to scrape all the dirt off and then just brush it clean. So hopefully BZ's done that all for you. But on the first day, which obviously I hadn't had a lot of experience by then, BZ did something in his feature. It's the exact same thing that happened to me. Take a look.
Like this, and then bringing it around. Ooh. No.
Yeah, I showed them the back too, because they just hold differently.
Because should I be doing it with my right hand then, or? Can't get it.
Yeah, you just have to put your hand underneath the hook. You're nearly right there, so put your hand on the one that's there.
So run down from here.
Yeah, and then to the inside of the hoof.
So my far
On the
enough,
front, to the front.
Yep.
The front of the leg.
like this.
Yeah, and then sort of,
Oh, like that.
yeah, and just ask him to bring it up. Yeah, just behind, that's right, exactly as you were, and up.
Come on.
And then when you've got it up, just hold it, put your that hand underneath
Like that.
the hook, yeah, so you support it.
Yep.
Otherwise it's just a little bit wobbly at the pastern there, and you want to...
So the difference with me and BZ there was I actually got the leg up the first time. It's just that the horse put full weight going down because it wanted to put its foot down, that I couldn't get my hands underneath the hoof to support it. So I was there for a while. Out of the 3 horses we had, they were all just like at different levels. Socks was easy to handle, Flora was easier to handle, and Paddy just made life extremely difficult. Nonetheless, I got to pick up the back legs and scrape all that dirt out, which I obviously ended up doing well. So yeah, got there in the end. So some of the main things that go on in the mornings in a stable, I should say, is bridling and saddling, and that's what this program mainly teaches you to do, because that's what you need to know. So we got taught that again. I'd had some prior experience with Pat and Harris prior, so I thought I was all right to start with, unlike some of the others that had never seen or done it before. So we got onto doing that on the Tuesday. So our first exposure to bridling and saddling, we just kept practicing and practicing. Eventually Tuesday was over, and that's basically all we'd done, I thought. So we just kept practicing for the rest of the day, bridling and saddling, but we didn't do a whole lot compared to what we would be doing over the next 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday. So we'd had some prior experience heading into those 2 days. In amongst all of this stuff, we were rugging and unrugging them. So I'm pretty good at rugging, I should say. I just got to remember which way the rug goes. You fling it over the horse to put it on, do the leg straps up first, followed by the chest strap, followed by the neck straps, and then boom, it's on. That's probably one of the easiest bits to handle. So Wednesday eventually rolled around, and it was the exact same procedure, just take him out of the box, put him on the walker, go back, muck out the boxes, get them back off the walker, put them back in their boxes, tie them up, brush them. Then we eventually had morning tea after that, but that's not important. And then after that, it was just bridling and saddling for the rest of the day. And I was starting to get the hang of it. I started to get quicker at doing it and better at doing it once I eventually memorized all the steps. But trying to put the bridle on the horse that made things extremely difficult, Paddy, was forgetful. It was very forgetful. The exact same thing happened to BZ.
Needing to get under 4 minutes, and I think I was tracking along well until had to try and get the bit in his mouth, and as you can probably see from the vision, it's certainly seems a lot easier than what it actually is, and a little bit of troubleshooting here. I'm stuck.
I'm going to come in and help
No, that's,
this head where it needs to be. I'm not going to help you put the bridle on.
yep,
Just going to help.
no, that's fine. I'm needing every little bit that I can get. $10 was in a bit of a mind of his own, and I think he could sense that I'm a complete amateur at it, and I was trying to persist with everything I could and trying to understand what I've been taught. Just try and get him to open his mouth, put the bit in his mouth, but he just wouldn't budge, and my time blew out to above 12 minutes, so again, I'm not convinced I'll be getting a job in a stable if that sort of works, so I need to improve. Hey. Hey.
So BZ estimated about 17 minutes. I'd like to say I tried about 100, I'm going to say close to 100 times to hold the bridle up with one hand and then try and put my thumb in his mouth on the other hand and force the bridle in. And the lady who was running it, Danielle, just said, just be patient, don't try and force it in there. So I was just holding it there eventually, and he did not want to open his mouth, and eventually I got it in after about 20 to 25 minutes of trying, maybe just bridling on its own without the saddling. With the saddling, maybe half an hour. I'm not too sure. There was no stopwatch, there was no timer, but that was hard. So Paddy made things extremely difficult. So after doing another load of bridling and saddling on that day, we then practiced putting the horses in the tie-ups. So the tie-ups are basically, well, you know what the tie-ups are. They're the stalls out the back where the horses stay before and after their race. So you lead them in, you change hands, you put one hand on the shoulder, you sort of force them around on their backside, not on their backside, but with the right hand, you just push them around so they're spinning, facing out of the tie-ups to tie them up. I got a lot of practice with that at Patton Harris's, so that was something I was actually good at prior to completing the course or doing the course. So yeah. And then we went and outlined what we were going to be doing on the Thursday, the last day, and that was the wash bay. So I had a bit of practice at Patton Harris's prior to this course, so I was actually looking forward to it. However, we just practiced pushing them around so they could face the other side on the wash bay. So you wash one side, you push them around, you wash the other side. You think that'd be easy, but I was particularly scared of what I had to do, to be honest. So you had to stand next to them towards their back legs. You had to reach over them and just give them a little squeeze on the hip, the opposite hip. And then once they started turning, you were directly behind them for about 2 seconds, I would say. And you know what horses do, they kick. So as soon as I finished doing it, I thought, oh yes, I've made it through another day of life. So then Thursday rolled around, the last day of the stable start. The 4 people at the start of the video that I said were really good at everything already, they left. They said they were sent home because they were already good at it and they already passed. The other 4, including me, it was our last day. Again, exact same procedure, as I don't need to say again because I've said it before. We practiced bridling and saddling again. The only difference on Thursday was that we got to trial a bit of race gear. So I managed to put on the earmuffs, the pre-race earmuffs, I guess you could say, or just earmuffs in general on a horse, and I did that really well. A racing saddle on a horse, so that's obviously the saddle cloth, which has the number on it. So I got through the first part of the day really well. I was starting to master it. I wouldn't say master it, but I was starting to get the hang of it all of a sudden. We practiced the tie-ups once more. We went into the wash bay, and this time we actually got to hose them down, and we found out a new way to turn them. We just had to get behind them and just sort of wave our hands about, and they would start turning. So we were clear of their back legs, which I was extremely thankful of. I went to bed on Wednesday night thinking, if I make it through this course alive, I'm going to be over the moon. So 2 hours before the end of the day, I think the owner of all the horses picked them up from the Cranbourne Racecourse, took them back to where they were from, or wherever they came from. And we just had to finish the bookwork that we were set. We did that, and it was time to go home. So overall, it was a very, very fun experience. It's just in Victoria, as you know. So anyone that's in Victoria that wants to get into this sort of stuff, I cannot recommend this program enough. It was absolutely awesome. Even if you don't want to do anything like this and you just want to have the skill set and know what it's like, I'd recommend it as well. So recapping, this program was awesome. I'd recommend it to absolutely anyone except for people under the age of 15, because I don't think they're allowed to do it. But apart from that, yeah, I recommend it to anyone. And also, which could lure you in, it's free. It's free to do, and you get morning tea and lunch. And you might think, oh, if it's free, the morning tea and lunch is going to be awful. It was some of the best food I've had away from home. It was unbelievable. I cannot recommend this program enough. Thank you everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed my little recap, and I'll see you in the next video.